Hey everybody, today is Friday, September 2nd, 2022. We're here in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. Right there is the King of Prussia Mall. Right there is the King of Prussia Fire Station, Station 47. And being very noisy during this entire video is the Pennsylvania Turnpike. So we're just gonna have to deal with that. So I wanted to bring you guys out here and show you something, and I want to use my words carefully. I was gonna say interesting. I don't know if that's the correct way to put this. It's something I find interesting. This kind of stuff intrigues me, but it's a somber thing, but it is here in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, and I wanted to show this to you guys because I will not be in the area next week during the anniversary of this. So I figured today, since I am actually out here in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, I would actually show this to you, and that is the 9/11 memorial they have set up here right next to the fire station. And fire station right there and right here is the 9/11 memorial. So I want to know, where were you during the September 11 attacks? And on September 11th, 2001, where were you? What were you doing? Were you even alive at that point? I was actually thinking about that it's the 21st anniversary of this happening. And I realized that people who watch my videos, some of you guys may not have even been alive, or maybe you were just so young that you don't even remember this happening. I guess I was around 21 myself at that time, and I definitely remember this happening. I was in college at the time. I remember I was in the dark room. I went to a photography school. I have a degree in photography. That's what I went to college for. I'm not really using that anymore, but anyway, I had a degree in photography, so I was in the dark room doing some developing of photos, and I kind of get very tunnel vision when it comes to me doing work. I hunker down and I get my work done. I don't let other people bother me. I don't let other distractions bother me. I just, again, tunnel vision. I got work to do. I'm gonna do it. But I remember hearing people talking about something. There were people kind of it was just this tone in the air, this feeling of I think people freaking out, or people it just, I don't know, something seemed weird. The way people were talking and whispering and just something seemed like it was going on. I had no idea what was happening. I actually ended up going out into the cafeteria area. There was a TV out there. I remember thinking, what is happening? Why are people watching TV? Why are people kind of whispering and talking? And why is there that weird feeling in the air of something happening? I got my work done and then went back out to the cafeteria and realized, oh, that's what's happening. We're being attacked, unfortunately. So the terrorist attacks were happening, and I remember just being blown away by the whole thing, and really I wasn't sure what to feel. At the time, I was really taken back because part of me was thinking wow, now, part of me was saddened by what was happening and thought just, I can't wrap my head around how crazy was happening. And then another part of me was also thinking well, this is what it feels like to be part of the world now, because you'd always hear stories about other countries and how they were dealing with terrorism, and they had bombers and stuff like that going on. There's always all these attacks going on over in Europe and whatnot all the time, and in the Middle East all the time. You'd always hear about all these attacks, but here in the United States, we weren't really dealing with that. Then it finally happened, and it was kind of a somber thing. It's oh, well, this is what it feels like now, I guess. So a big wave of emotions and not really knowing what to feel when that was going on. It was a crazy time. And then of course afterwards, the world was just not the same anymore. Everything changed at that point. They always say it was the day everything changed, and it definitely did at the time. Everything was pretty crazy back then. So where were you during 9/11? Where were you? What were you doing? If you were even alive at that point, were you alive at that point? Were you maybe too young to remember it at that point? But if you were around, if you do remember 9/11 happening, comments down below. What was going on? What were you doing? How old were you? What were you doing at the time you learned about 9/11? Everybody says, where were you when JFK died? Well, I wasn't alive. Where were you when the lights went on in New York? I never lived in New York, but I do remember where I was when 9/11 happened. So I'm gonna know where you guys were. So we'll take a look at this memorial here. King of Prussia Volunteer Fire Company 9/11 Memorial. So this being the King of Prussia Volunteer Fire Company. As you can see, they have this all set up to kind of memorialize stuff. Looks like Flight 93 and 11 and 175 there, all the different flight paths. That's interesting the way they actually have this set up. It is, I mean, as you can see, there's a lot to read on here. They talk about what every specific thing means, the gazebo, all the stuff written on the ground here. It's definitely involved. They went way out of their way, and I mean that in a good way, but they went way out of their way to make this symbolize a lot of stuff. Look at that. Crazy. Again, I just remember when this happened, and it was a really crazy time. So actually, see, there's 12 Are there 12 different things that are kind of being like shown here? Look at that. The 9/11 Memorial, the World Trade Center patio. So I'm guessing this would be the World Trade Center patio. I'm guessing all of these would be the different buildings. Yes, it is. 1 World Trade Center, 2 Marriott Hotel, 4, 5, 6, and 7 World Trade Center. So that shows all the different buildings there. Again, all the different flight paths, the actual steel columns, which we will go up and take a look at. They actually, I guess, kind of represent the actual Twin Towers themselves. Absolutely crazy. Again, like as I'm talking about it, like thinking about the imagery I was seeing on TV, I haven't really watched much of it. I have some documentaries on 9/11, and I haven't really even watched them because it's just not something I want to like, a feeling I want to bring back. And watching the planes hit the buildings and just how crazy it was to watch them kind of like speed up and just the fireballs and then people, I don't even want to talk about it, but people jumping out of the buildings and then collapse. I remember then they collapse. Like I'm getting goosebumps, but not in a good way. I'm getting like scared goosebumps talking about this right now. But I remember when like the buildings collapsed and just it was a crazy time watching all this unfold on TV. I remember I was in my house. I was still living with my parents at the time. I was in the house, just sitting in the living room, just watching this happen. My parents, I think they were still at work at the time. I don't know why their work didn't close down. Maybe they did, but by the time I got home, they weren't home yet. I remember I had off work. I actually used to work over here in the King of Prussia Mall at the FAO Shores, and I couldn't get a hold of anybody, so I had no idea. I'm like, am I going into work today? Like with everything going on, am I going to work? Am I not going to work? Is the mall even opened? I had no idea what was going on. I kept trying to call my work, I kept trying to call my boss. Of course, you couldn't get through to anybody. All the phone lines were jammed. If you wanted to call somebody, you were not calling anybody that day. The phone, the cell service was so jammed, you couldn't actually make a phone call. It was insane. I couldn't get through to anybody. I did eventually get through to my work, but it just kept ringing. Nobody answered. Showed up to the mall. The mall was shut down. It was closed. They had closed the mall for the day. A lot of stuff was closed down for that day and even like weeks to come because everybody was just as scared that something else was going to happen. So these are actual steel beams from the World Trade Center. Like just like the fact that I'm touching these is pretty crazy. I never got to see the World Trade Center back when it was still standing. I never saw it. I had been to New York while the trade centers were there, but I never actually got to go up to them. Looking back on it, I kind of wish I would have. I've been to like the Empire State Building and stuff like that, but I never actually went to the World Trade Center. I never went up and touched them. I remember actually right after 9/11, I was in Philadelphia, maybe like a couple days after the attacks happened, and I was dating a girl down there, and I remember I used to park in this one area and skateboard over to where she lived. And I remember that we have these 2 big towers in Philadelphia. They've been dwarfed now by new high rises that have been built over the last like 20 something years. But it was Liberty 1 and Liberty 2. They're these big 2, kind of the World Trade Centers of Philadelphia, if you will. They kind of look like that. They're these big tall towers. They do have pointy tops to them, but still, they're kind of the World Trade Centers, if you will, of Philadelphia. I remember specifically, I skateboarded past them and touched them, just because I thought, in the world we're living in right now, who knows? These could come down any day now. Like I think that's the mindset we were living in at the time, is that anything we're looking at, anything we're doing can come to an end because of the craziness the world's going through right now. We had no idea if there were going to be more attacks or all these news reports of more attacks coming, all these reports that more attacks were coming. We honestly thought we were in the middle of a war and that we were going to be attacked like every day. So I remember skating past them and touching Liberty 1 and Liberty 2, just in case possibly they weren't going to be there anymore. I wanted to actually like touch them and be up around them. So that's nuts. Did you actually ever go up into the World Trade Centers? Because I knew you used to be able to go up on top. There was an observation, like an observation lookout, an observation deck on top of the World Trade Centers, or at least one of them anyway. Because if you watch Home Alone 2, you can actually see Kevin McAllister up there looking out, which is great. It's crazy to watch Home Alone 2. You got World Trade Towers, and then you got the Donald Trump thing, like the Donald Trump cameo. It's a really weird movie when you look back on it now. There's a lot of stuff that was just very different back when that movie came out. So yeah, there's an American flag right there. It looks very faded. They need to definitely replace the American flag. But as you can see right there in the glass case there is indeed an American flag. It looks like maybe some water has unfortunately gotten there. The flag is very, very faded. We'll go back down. I'll look to see what that represents. But yeah, they definitely need to maybe replace that, unless it's there for a reason. Oh, wait, here we go. Oh no, flag was flown March 2nd, 2011 at 1600 hours on, what did I say? Bagram Airfield, if I'm saying that right, in Afghanistan at the 131 Transportation Company motor pool. So, I don't really know what that represents. Am I missing something? Flag was flown March 2nd, 2011. I guess they flew that in memorial of September 11th. I'm not entirely sure. But, okay, so the flag actually has some meaning. It has some representation. I'm not entirely sure what that is. If you comments down below, you can explain that to me if you understand what that means more. So the flag actually does hold some meaning. It is a shame though that it is so incredibly faded from just being out here for the past, I don't know when this was built, but the past however many years. And the fact that it looks like some water has absolutely gotten in there, but it is what it is. Still, very interesting. There's all kinds of like sponsors down here, I'm guessing, who maybe help pay for the memorial. So again, guys, this is crazy. Just steel columns, actually from the World Trade Center. I know that there are a lot of these. There are a lot of these around. I've seen these all over the place. In fact, if I ever come across more of them, I will pull over. I will check them out. I will show them to you guys in these videos. But do you have one of these memorials in your hometown or around you anywhere? Do you have one of these? Because again, I've seen these. I've seen the steel towers or the steel columns from the World Trade Center at other places throughout the United States. I've driven past them before. In fact, I think there's one that's not too terribly far away from where I live, right around this flea market I go to, Jake's Flea Market. I think there's one out there somewhere. If there is, I will take a look at that at some point and show you guys that. But do you have one of these near you? Do you actually have steel columns from the World Trade Center that you can actually go up and touch? I mean, it's just crazy. I think that these were there when the insanity was happening, when the planes were attacking, when the fire was burning, when people were jumping to their deaths, when people were dying, and it just the insanity that happened that day. I mean, these towers were there. I keep calling these towers. They're the representative towers. So these steel columns were there to see it all. Nuts. But all right, guys, I just wanted to bring you out here. I want to show you that if you want to come out here and check out the 9/11 Memorial here in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, it is right here at the Volunteer Fire Company and right across the street from the King of Prussia Mall. You can come over here. You can check this out. You can pay your respects. You can read up on all this stuff. And there is a lot to read. This is a very involved memorial. But I mean, rightfully so. There's a lot to remember, a lot to commemorate, a lot to not forget. And they definitely wanted us to not forget any of this stuff. All right, guys, so we got 9/11 Memorial, King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. Wanted to bring you guys out here. Like I said, leave a comment down below. Let me know if you were alive at that point. It's crazy to be able to, in my mind, 9/11 happened like yesterday. Like it feels like it happened just so recently. The fact that I'm thinking about how long ago it actually did happen is kind of crazy. The fact that I know some of you probably watching right now were either not alive at that point, or you were just so young you don't remember it. That's crazy to think right now. So if you were alive at that time, or you were old enough to actually remember it happening, whether you were in school or you were older or whatever, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you were doing when 9/11 happened, when the terrorist attacks happened that morning of September 11th, 2001. Where were you? What were you doing? Let me know. Leave a comment down below. I want to know where you were when the terrorist attack. I'm just curious what you were doing at the time and what was going through your mind. Comments down below, please. Let me know. So, all right, guys. Again, King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, the King of Prussia Volunteer Fire Company 9/11 Memorial. Get out here. Check this out. Pay your respects. But I'm gonna go now, guys, because just again, wave of not good nostalgia coming over me right now. So anyway, guys, with that, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, check down below for links to Patreon. If you do become a patron, you do receive a monthly postcard sent to you. I pick up postcards from my travels. I will send them out to you at the beginning of every month. If you do become a patron, you will actually be getting a postcard sent to you from Walt Disney World next month, because in October, I'm gonna be in Walt Disney World at the beginning of the month, and I will be sending you postcards actually from Main Street. I'll probably be doing a video on that of me actually sending out postcards, putting them in the Main Street, on Main Street on Walt Disney World, in the parks, Main Street Walt Disney World, post office boxes, the post boxes, the mailboxes, that's what I'm looking for. I'll actually be dropping the postcards off in the mailboxes, and they'll be coming from Walt Disney World. So if you do become a patron, if you are a patron, you'll be getting one. If you do become a patron, you'll be getting one. So definitely check down below for links to Patreon. Also check down below for a link to Spreadshirt, where you can grab yourself What's With Dave Today t-shirts. Proceeds both from Spreadshirt and from Patreon do go to help putting gas inside Vandenbell, or again, in this case, Pumpkin, so we can come out to fun, interesting, so we can come out to fun, interesting places, and maybe not so fun, but still kind of interesting places like the 9/11 Memorial. I don't want to call this fun. This is not fun. This is a very sad thing to remember, but it is something we should absolutely 100% remember. So anyway, guys, like I said, check down below for all the different links. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and if you do subscribe, I will be seeing you in tomorrow's video. So have a good one, guys. I don't even know what to say. All right, see you guys tomorrow. Bye.